The Third Testament, 4th section, the law, love of God and neighbor. Chapter 18, works of mercy and central importance of love. The retroactive blessing of good works. 1. Observe all kinds of human misery, pain, neediness, and let your heart become more and more compassionate at the sight of the pain that surrounds you everywhere. 2. If you feel in the innermost part of your being a generous and noble urge to do good, let this impulse overflow and manifest itself. It is the Spirit who communicates his message because he has found his body, soul, willing and ready. 334, 3-4. 3. Be careful that the activity of charity comes first among your aspirations, and never regret having been charitable, for by this virtue you will have the greatest satisfactions and happiness of your existence, and at the same time attain all the wisdom, strength, and exaltation that every noble spirit craves. 4. By mercy towards your fellow men you will purify your spirit and in this way settle old debts. You will ennoble your human life and uplift your spiritual life. 5. When you then once reach the gate, at which all of you will once knock, your bliss will be very great because you will hear the call of welcome which the spiritual world will offer you, which will bless you and call you to the work of renewal and spiritualization. 308,55, 56. 6. I say to you, blessed are those of my workers who are able to feel in their hearts the suffering of those who have lost their freedom or health, and who visit and comfort them. For one day they will meet again, in this life or another, and you do not know whether they will not then have more health, more freedom and more light than those who brought them the message of love in a prison or a hospital. Then they will show their gratitude and reach out their hand to the one who gave it to them at another time. 7. That moment when you brought my word near to their hearts, that moment when your hand was stroking their foreheads and you made them think of me and feel me, will never be erased from their spirit, any more than your face and your brotherly voice will be forgotten in their minds, which is why they will recognize you wherever you are. 149, 54-55. 8. As the wind and the sun caress you, so shall you caress your neighbor, my people. This is the time when the needy are abundant. Understand that he who asks you for a favor grants you the grace to be useful to others and to work for your salvation. He gives you the opportunity to be merciful and thereby become like your Father. For man is born to sow the seed of goodness over the world. Understand, then, that whoever asks you does you a favor. 27, 62. Real and false charity. 9. O disciples, your highest task will be the work of love. Often you will do it in secret without boasting, without letting the left hand know what the right hand has done. But there will be occasions when your activity of love will be seen by your fellow men, so that they may learn to participate in it. 10. Be unconcerned about the reward. I am the Father who rewards the works of his children with righteousness, without forgetting a single one. 11. I have told you that if you will give a glass of water with true love, it will not go unrewarded. 12. Blessed are those who say to me, when they come to me, Lord, as a reward for my works I expect nothing, it is enough for me to be alive and know that I am your child, and already my spirit is filled with happiness. 4, 78-81. 13. Do not indulge in selfish desires, thinking only of your spiritualization and your reward, for your disappointment will be very painful when you enter the spiritual, because you will discover that you have not really earned a reward. 14. So that you may better understand what I want to tell you, I give you the following example. There are and always have been men and women who took it upon themselves to do charitable works among their fellow men, and yet when they came to me they could not show me any merit for their spiritual happiness. What was the reason for this? Can you imagine that they were victims of an injustice on the part of their Father? The answer is simple, disciples. They could not reap any good for themselves because their works were not sincere. For when they stretched out their hand to give something, they never did so out of a true sense of mercy toward him who suffers, but by thinking of themselves, of their salvation, of their reward. Some were motivated by self-interest, others by vanity, and this is not true mercy, for it was neither felt nor selfless. I tell you that he who has no sincerity and love in himself does not sow the truth and does not earn a reward. 15. Obvious charity can give you many satisfactions on earth, which come from the admiration you arouse and the flattery you receive, but the apparent does not enter my kingdom, there only the truth reaches. There you will all go without being able to hide the slightest defilement or unfairness. For before you can appear before God, you will have laid aside the gala cloaks, crowns, insignia, titles, and everything that belongs to the world, to appear before the highest judge as simple spirit beings who give account before the Creator for the task that has been entrusted to them. 75. 22-24. 16. Whoever would like to be useful to his neighbor out of love devotes himself to goodness in any of the many ways that life offers. He knows that he is a human being who should find himself ready to be used by the divine will for very high purposes. I want you, O disciples, to gain knowledge so that you may free from their errors those who have lost the way to ascension. 17. True love, that which goes beyond the human feelings of the heart, is the fruit of wisdom. See how I sow wisdom in your imaginations in my words, and after that I expect the fruit of your love. 18. There are many ways to do good, many ways to comfort and serve. All are expressions of love, which is one, love, which is wisdom of the Spirit. 19. Some may walk in the way of science, some in the way of spirit, some in feeling, but the totality of all will result in spiritual harmony. 282, 23-26. Spiritual and material love activity. 20. If you are materially poor, and for this reason cannot help your neighbor, do not grieve. Pray, and I will cause that where there is nothing, light will shine and peace will come. 21. True love of neighbor, from which compassion is born, is the best gift you can give to those in need. If, in giving a coin, a loaf of bread or a glass of water, you do not have the feeling of love for your fellow man, verily, I say to you, then you have given nothing. It would be better for you not to part with what you give. 22. When will you, O mankind, know the power of love? Until today you have never made use of that power which is the origin of life. 306, 32-33. 23. See not enemies, but brethren in all that surround you. Demand punishment for no one, be lenient that you may set an example of forgiveness and that no remorse may arise in your spirit. Close your lips and let me judge your cause. 24. Heal the sick, restore reason to the confused. Drive out the spirits that cloud the mind and make sure that both regain the light that they have lost. 33, 58-59. 25. Disciples, that principle which I taught you in the second age, to love one another, is applicable to all actions of your life. 26. Some say to me, Master, how can I love my neighbor, since I am an insignificant being whose life is filled with physical labor? 27. To these my child students I say, even in this physical work, which is apparently without meaning, you can love your neighbor if you do your work with the desire to serve your fellow men. 28. Imagine how beautiful your life would be if every man worked with the thought of doing good and of uniting his small effort with that of others. Verily, I say to you, there would then be no more misery. But the truth is that every man works for himself, thinks of himself, and at most still of his own. 29. You must all know that no one can be enough for himself, and that he needs the others. All of you must know that you are deeply bound to a universal mission, which you are to accomplish together, but not united by earthly obligations, but by attitude, by inspiration and ideals, in a word, by love for one another. The fruit will then be for the good of all. 334, 35-37. 30. I tell you, disciples, in my law of love, that if you cannot do perfect works like those I did in Jesus, at least make an effort in your lives to come near them. It is enough for me to see a little goodwill to emulate me and a little love for your neighbor, and already I stand by you and reveal my grace and my power in your way. 31. You will never be alone in the struggle. Since I do not leave you alone when you are oppressed by the burden of your sins, do you believe that I leave you when you go your way under the burden of the cross of this mission of love? 103, 28-29. The comprehensive meaning of love. 32. At all times my teaching has made it clear to you that her inmost being is love. 33. Love is the essence of God. From this power all beings draw to live, from it life and all creation sprang. Love is the source and the goal in the destiny of all that was created by the Father. 34. In the face of that power that moves, illuminates, and enlivens all things, death disappears, sin fades away, passions pass away, impurities are washed away, and all that is imperfect is perfected. 295, 32. 35. I have revealed to you my being, and the reason for yours. I have revealed to you that the fire that gives life and animates everything is love. It is the origin from which all forms of life have come forth. 36. See, you are born of love, you exist out of love, you find forgiveness out of love, and you will be out of love in eternity. 135, 19-20. 37. Love is the origin and the reason for your existence, O human beings. How could you live without this gift? Believe me, there are many who carry death in themselves, and others who are sick just because they love no one. The healing balm that has saved many has been love, and the divine gift that raises to true life, that redeems and lifts up, is also love. 166, 41. 38. Love. The one who does not love carries a deep sadness in himself, not to possess, not to feel the most beautiful and highest things in life. 39. This is what Christ taught you with his life and with his death, and what he bequeathed to you in his divine words, summarized in the sentence, "Love one another with that love which I have given you." 40. The day will come when those who have not loved will free themselves from their bitterness and prejudices. Come and rest with me, where they will return to life when they hear my loving word of infinite tenderness. 41. Verily, I tell you, in love lies my strength, my wisdom and my truth. It is like an immeasurably long ladder of steps, which manifests itself in different forms from the lower human beings to the highest spirits who have reached perfection. 42. Love, even if it is in your way, but love always. Do not hate, for hatred leaves a death trap behind, while you forgive yourself out of love, and all grudges are extinguished. 224,34, 36. 43. I tell you, he who does not reveal his love in the highest form and with absolute sincerity does not love. He will have no true knowledge and will possess very little. But he who loves with all his spirit and all the powers given to him will carry within himself the light of wisdom and feel that he is in reality the owner of all that surrounds him, for what the Father possesses is also the property of his children. 168, 11. 44. Love will give you the wisdom to understand the truth which others seek in vain on the bumpy paths of science. 45. Allow the Master to guide you in all actions, words, and thoughts. Prepare yourselves according to his kind and loving example, then you will reveal divine love. In this way you will feel close to God because you will be in harmony with him. 46. If you love, you will be able to be gentle, as Jesus was. 21, 10-12. 47. He that loves understands, he that learns possesses will, he that has will is able to do many things. I tell you, he who does not love with all the power of his spirit will have neither spiritual exaltation nor wisdom, nor will he do great works. 24, 41. 48. Do not let your heart be imagined, for it symbolizes the fire of eternity of him from whom all things came forth and where all things are revived. 49. The Spirit uses the heart to love by means of the body. If you love only according to the law of matter, your love will be transitory, because it is limited. But if you love spiritually, that feeling is like that of the Father, who is eternal, perfect, and changeless. 50. All life and all created things are related to the Spirit because he possesses eternal life. Do not limit yourselves, love me and love yourselves, because you possess that God spark of being which knows no limits in loving, which is God himself. 180, 24-26. 51. Climb up the path that leads you to the top of the mountain, and with every step you take you will better understand my teachings and become more and more perfect in the interpretation of the divine message. 52. What is the language of the Spirit? It is love. Love is the universal language of all spirits. Do you not see that human love also speaks? Often it needs no words, it speaks better by deeds, by thoughts. If human love already expresses itself in this way, how will its language be only when you perfect yourselves in my laws? 316, 59-60. 53. When ye consider that I am wisdom, that wisdom springs from love. When you recognize me as judge, that jurisdiction is based on love. When you consider me as powerful, my power is based on love. If you know that I am eternal, my eternity comes from love, because this is life and life makes the spirit immortal. 54. Love is light, is life and knowledge. And this seed I have given you since the beginning of times, the only one I have sown as a perfect farmer in the fields that are your hearts. 222-23. The high power of love. 55. O men and women of the world, who have forgotten in your science is the only thing that can make you wise and happy, you have forgotten the love that inspires all things, the love that can do everything and transform everything. You live in the midst of pain and darkness, for by not practicing the love that I teach you, you cause your physical or spiritual suffering. 56. To discover and understand my messages you must first be kind and gentle from your heart, virtues that are present in every spirit from the moment of its creation, but to feel the true, high sensation of love, you must spiritualize by cultivating your good sensations, but you have wanted everything in life except spiritual love. 16,31, 32. 57. At all times you have had leaders who have taught you the power of love. They were your more advanced brethren, with greater knowledge of my law and greater purity in their works. They gave you an example of strength, love, and humility as they exchanged their lives of aberrations and sins for an existence dedicated to goodness, sacrifice, and active charity. 58. From childhood to old age you have been clear examples of all that can be achieved with love, and of the sufferings caused by the lack of charity, but you, more callous than the rocks, have not been able to learn from the teachings and examples that daily life gives you. 59. Have you ever observed how even the predators respond gently to a call of love? In the same way, the elements, the forces of nature, can react, everything that exists in the material and spiritual world. 60. Therefore I tell you to bless everything with love, in the name of the Father and Creator of the universe. 61. To bless means to saturate. Blessing is to feel the good, to say it and to pass it on. Blessing is to imbue all that surrounds you with thoughts of love. 14, 56-60. 62. Verily, I say to you, love is the unchanging power that moves the universe. Love is the origin and meaning of life. 63. I am now initiating a time of spiritual resurrection for all, a time in which I will make blossom that blessed seed of love which I poured out on the world from the height of a cross, announcing to you that when men love one another as I taught you, death would be taken out of the world and in its place life would rule over men and manifest itself in all their works. 282,13-14.